gonna give in now. I think I'm gonna live this now. I've been gonna be when I'ma kill this stuff real quick. I'ma go take it to town, cause I gotta be that king in the ring when I'm knocking them out when I'm back with the ring. Cause I am just up on the journey. Just know that I'm just going insane.
Warriors, rise. The one world economy is here, but this has been planned out for a very, very long time. As we look this way, there's a whole nother narrative going on this way. There's a small group of people that are investing in the new infrastructure of the technology of the new financial system. Just imagine, just like when the railroads started to come on and people were like, wait a minute, I might invest in the tracks, in the steel, the things, just like the gold rush, right? Who was the one that became the richest person in the gold rush? Not the people out there running to get rich quick. It was the people, the gentlemen who sold the shovels. My name is Coach AV. I am the top health, mindset, crypto, and business coach in the world. What you believe in your heart, you think in your mind will eventually become your words and become your reality. If you can see it in your mind, eventually you can hold it right here in your hands. What you repeatedly do gets ingrained in your subconscious mind. What gets ingrained in your subconscious mind becomes an unconscious activity. Now we're going to dive right into this. We're going to watch a little bit of a longer video. This was back in 2020 on August 13th. This is the stuff that I like to watch. I know I'm kind of nerdy, and this is what I do. I love watching this type of stuff. I love watching human behavior. And the way my brain works, if you've ever done human design, I'm a peer generator, right? So a peer generator, what I do is I go out and I practice, I build safety, I build foundations, and then I teach. And my human design is I'm a researcher. I'm an avid researcher. All I do is research and connect the dots. I also have dyslexia, so it takes me a little bit longer for things to connect. I don't know if that has anything to do with the way my brain works, but my brain can see patterns in human behavior, in life, in my own life, right? So I remember things that I listen to because I so consistently research and I connect the dots. Well, things have been changing for a very, very long time. And I've been telling people based on when I was in banking school that our banking system is going to shift. And I went into banking school back in 2012, 2013. And I left the banking system because I literally was part of a bank and I saw a bank literally fraudulently manipulating stock prices. So I was like, wow, this is a system that I'm part of, a system that is not for the people, that the people who control the money, control the information, control the people. So I had one choice: to learn as much as I could to understand how to get the wealth back to the people. And that's what I'm doing. I'm working to build generational wealth and teach as many people as possible the skills that I learned. I don't know if it's right, but it worked for me to help them free themselves and understand that you are already free. Okay. Anyways, so we're going to watch this video. We're going to dive right into it. I want you to listen to what they're saying. So one world economy is coming. All the money is going to run through these central banks. Okay. And they're doing it through looking at a beer virus this way. Okay. And then they change the narrative this way. And it's all about financial inclusion. Okay. Making sure people have access to funds and money moving at the speed of light. So this is going to be a longer video, so bear with me, but then we'll narrate it and I'll connect the dots for you guys as we move along.
In Kansas City, as we announced the Federal Reserve's decision to develop a new instant payment system. Today, I'm pleased to welcome you again for an update on our progress. From the start, the engagement, banking, and payments industry has been a critical part of our effort to modernize the nation's payment system. Your involvement included feedback on our public consultation paper in 2013, your participation on the Faster and Secure Payments Task Forces, which we started up in 2015, and as recently as last year when we received hundreds of comment letters about the central bank's role in fostering an accessible, safe, and efficient payment system for our nation. Your contributions to our payments improvement efforts have been so valuable, and we look forward to continuing those conversations as we advance toward the launch of the FedNow service. Joining me today is Governor Lael Brainerd, who has provided tremendous leadership to the Federal Reserve's work on payments. She's going to be offering remarks on a Federal Register notice release.
Okay, so like I said, this can be a longer video, but what I want to share with you guys is the FedNow service is different than the master accounts for crypto. But I'm gonna explain from my understanding. Now, this is just my research. So there's going to be the FedNow services, which is going to be the pandemic relief as we go into these new narratives, because people weren't getting their stimulus checks. So they're going to bring the people underneath that into the central banks, and they're going to bring the cryptocurrency banks and all banks, because the regular banks run through the Federal Reserve. Okay. They're going to bring the crypto banks through master accounts. So all the money in a one world economy is going to run through the central banks,
which will describe our progress related to developing this new instant payment system and its planned features and functionality. Ken Montgomery, who is the first vice president and chief operating officer at the Boston Federal Reserve Bank, is also here. Ken serves as the executive overseeing this work, and he's capable of leading the talented team that's working on this important initiative. Following Governor Brainard's remarks, there will be a question and answer session, and you'll be able to submit your questions to the three of us. And so with that, I am very pleased today to turn the program over to Governor Brainard.
Okay, so now they're going to dive in. I just want to listen. We're going to listen to the first about 5 minutes of this video, but listen to what they're saying, okay?
Well, thank you. It is a real pleasure to be here today with you, Esther, and with Ken to talk about the future of America's retail payment system. The retail payment infrastructure touches every American. That's why 1 year ago, the Federal Reserve committed to build its first major new payment system in 4 decades. Although no one anticipated at that time the challenges our nation would soon face, the COVID-19 pandemic has heightened the urgency and importance of delivering a resilient instant payment system that is accessible to all Americans.
Okay, key. They happen to be building a new payment system. She's reading right off our script, right? But they did not know that there was going to be a beer virus that would accelerate the system rapidly. Interesting. But they started building a system. But if they need to move money at the speed of light because they printed too much money, also gives them the right to print a bunch of money. And they know that the system can't continue the way it is unless they switch the system. Well, if we get a beer virus going and we have our new payment system in place, we can get all the money into the system.
The pandemic is taking a tremendous toll on communities across America, especially households and small businesses with the least liquid resources to weather the storm. Emergency relief payments authorized in the CARES Act provided a vital lifeline for many households. After sharply reducing their spending early in the crisis, many households increased their spending starting on the day they received the emergency relief payments and continuing for the following 10 days. That rapid increase in spending was greatest for households with lower incomes, greater income declines, and lower liquid savings. The urgency with which the emergency payments were spent underscores the importance of immediate access to funds for many households and businesses that face cash flow constraints. The CARES Act payments were dispersed to households using direct deposit, prepaid debit cards, and checks.
Okay, this is key. So this is the narrative, remember? So they lock us down for the beer virus. Many people got debit cards, prepaid things, direct deposit, but a lot of people didn't get their checks. So that when the next pandemic comes or the next crisis comes, they need to make sure that you have access to funds. So the next narrative, when we go into the recession and depression where people need money, so when you need to survive and you need money or UBI, Universal Basic Income, you're going to get your FedNow account. And if you want to do your cryptocurrency exchange inside the America, you're going to need to get a master account. All the money's going to run through the system.
Which can take several days between the time the funds are sent and the times recipients can access those funds. By contrast, instant payments could have helped reduce strain for those who needed the funds quickly in order to meet financial obligations. The same is true for other payments intended to provide immediate assistance, for example, after natural disasters. In good times as
key, just like natural disasters, climate change narrative is coming.
Well as bad, instant payments will enable millions of American households and businesses to get instant access to funds rather than waiting days for checks to clear. Immediate availability of funds could be especially important for households on fixed incomes or living paycheck to paycheck, when waiting days for the funds to be available to pay a bill can mean overdraft fees or late fees that can compound, or reliance on costly sources of credit. For small businesses, the ability to receive customer payments instantly could help manage cash flows when working capital is tied up in materials or inventory.
Boom. I'm just going to leave it at that right there. Okay, I'll leave it at that. So they literally told you, they hide it in plain sight. Here's the narrative, right? We're literally going to strangle small businesses. We're going to raise, this was in 2020, we're going to raise interest rates. Now access to capital is very expensive, right? The middle class is getting wiped out, leveraged towards technology. That's what Jerome Powell said. We got our FedNow services accounts set up. Okay. And then all of a sudden we go into a pandemic. Ironically, they had the payment system set up before the pandemic. Okay. And here's what the RTP is. So they talk about real-time payments. I was going to keep the video going, but it'll go way too long. So they talk about RTP, real-time payments. Here's what it looks like, right? Everything will run through the real-time payment system. You got third-party token service providers. You got small businesses, consumers, credit unions. You got the Federal Reserve Clearinghouse, right? Sounds familiar. Bank to bank, community banks, third parties, consumers, everything is going to run through the real-time payments. Okay. So lawmakers talk digital dollar, Fed accounts Thursday hearing. So this was on June 10th, 2020. Okay. This was all happening during the pandemic. Okay. All of a sudden they had all this stuff. The FedNow services accounts were set up, ready to go. Then we hit a pandemic. And they're talking about all of a sudden on August 13th, 2020, that was March, April, May, June, July, August, 6 months in. All of a sudden, wow, look at these checks didn't get to the people fast enough. The narrative is already built out. So then they have the Fed now. So they talk about the digital dollar. We got the digital dollar in 2020 when they keep telling us that crypto and blockchain, is a farce, blah, blah, blah. All the banks tell you that cryptocurrency is a fraud and they tell their clients not to invest in it as they are already investing in it. Okay. And then this is important to understand too, the central bank. What is the central bank, right? Central bank is not part of our government. You guys realize that, right? They are a private entity. The U.S. central bank system is the Federal Reserve, is the most powerful economic institution in the United States and perhaps the world. Its core responsibility includes setting interest rates, managing the money supply, and regulating financial markets. Setting interest rates, they can control the interest rates being too high so you don't have access to capital, and now you can't buy homes and all the hedge funds are buying them up. They manage the money supply. They can print whenever they want. They can shut it down whenever they want. They can put you in the FedNow services whenever they want. And they regulate the financial markets. It's like tapping BlackRock to come balance out the markets, the largest asset manager in the world that is connected to Vanguard, that most of them control your 401k and your pension plans. Okay. So they got the people to run their money through the system, and they'll do that through pandemics. And now they're going to get all the crypto banks, which is like all these exchanges and everybody trying to become a bank. So you're going to have all these major commercial banks that we already have, and then you're going to have all these offshoots, which are going to be these exchanges that become cryptocurrency banks. Like Kraken's already a cryptocurrency bank. Ripple has a LLC in Wyoming. I guarantee they're going to be a bank. And crypto banks are one step closer to reality under the new Fed guidelines. And I want to make sure people understand this, okay? This is important. The Fed now, so you have the Fed Now services, because I see a lot of people reporting this. I want to make this very clear so people understand. Fed Now services is for consumers. That's going to be for you guys, the retail people, right? So the retail people will have a Fed Now services. So all the money will run through their system in the central bank, and then they're going to get the crypto people, the crypto exchanges to run. So all your money will be back in the system. They want all the cash out of the system, and they want every single dime running through the system. So if you're a landscaper who gets cash now, eventually cash is going to be obsolete. And to get access to your money, you're going to have a FedNow services account, and then they can control and monitor all the money through the system. We're moving from freedom to safety. I didn't make the system, warriors. I didn't make the system. They're taking you from freedom to safety. You're not safe anymore. You can't handle yourself anymore. You need hand sanitizer. You need these things. You need this. You need all this stuff. I'm not saying anything left, right, up, down. I'm just telling you what's happening. This is where they're taking you. Okay. So now this is important. So this is, I just want to walk you through the difference because people are reporting on this. It's not the same thing. You have FedNow services, which is in the central bank, which is consumers. And then you have the master accounts, which is for crypto banks. Okay. So basically what they're doing is they're going to force everybody. Okay, this is the thing that they put out. This was the the guidelines for evaluating accounts and services requests. This is on page 9. This is from the Federal Reserve. The board received 46 individual comments. Let me get to the point here. Comments are in several types of institutions, including institutions with traditional charters, such as banks, credit unions, and their trade associations, institutions with novel charters, such as cryptocurrency custody and their trade associations, think tanks for nonprofit. The views expressed by this category and comments often conflict. So this is where they're talking about, like, basically they're taking all these offshoot banks and everything will run through this master account. So if you don't get up with the master account, you don't get up with regulation, you don't have the law team to do this, you don't have the infrastructure, the right leadership team. Listen, these cryptocurrency exchanges, I guarantee, are behind the scenes rubbing elbows. They don't want their shit to get shut down. So if that's why we say a lot of cryptocurrency specifically with regulation are getting smashed, and many exchanges are going to get smashed because they're not going to be able to come up to regulation. So look at the big exchanges that are playing games, right? Coinbase is with BlackRock. They ain't going nowhere. They ain't going nowhere. Okay. Dive into these big companies, like understand what you're investing in or understand what you're putting your money. Okay. Biden's approach to crypto. The Biden administration releases a broad executive order looking at how to approach digital assets and how to regulate them on August 22nd. We hear the word crypto and regulation mentioned in the same sentence a lot these days. U.S. House of Financial Services Committee Chair Maxine Waters and Ranking Member Patrick McHenry are looking to regulate stablecoins in the wake of the Terra Luna collapse, when this supposed stablecoin proved not to be stable. Okay, they're making you safe. We're moving to safety wars. That's what it's all about. So you have to know the game. That's important, right? You can try to resist it. You can see all the stuff, people getting shut down, blah, blah, blah. We're moving into a whole new world, You can either bitch and complain about it, sit on the sidelines, be an armchair quarterback, or you can get in the game. I'm investing in the new infrastructure of the technology. Okay. The middle class is getting wiped out, leveraged towards technology. Facts, 100%. The middle class, if you don't get reskilled to technology and you don't understand that your job is going to get replaced, if your company is not getting up in innovation, if you're in a large company and they're not getting into zero carbon, they're not going to get their funding. I guarantee you. We're moving to zero carbon by 2023. That is the narrative. 2030, excuse me. 2030, that is the narrative. Remember, Larry Fink, who's part of BlackRock, sits on the board of trustees for the World Economic Forum. The job of the board of trustees is to move the mission forward. He is the CEO of the largest asset manager in the world. The freight train has left the building. You're either going to get on board and go for the ride of your life or get ran over by it. But the fact is, every person, if you're living on this earth, is going to be on that train. People aren't waking up enough. They're just not. That's a fact. There's a small percentage of us. Small percentage of us even paying attention to this. Look at the narratives. They're going to get very thick. Okay. There's this whole narrative with cancel. They want you distracted with all these people getting canceled and stuff. Stay focused. Light, love, positivity, Christ consciousness. And we love to have you part of our community. That's what it's all about. Light, love, positivity, lifting each other up, becoming better humans, access to my portfolio, exit strategy, 7 calls a week. The community is everything, Warriors. So click the description down below, join the Private Warrior Academy. Love you guys. I want to get this under 20 minutes so we can get it out to you quickly. Warriors, rise, get your shit together.